The story begins on the cold steel deck of the galactic arena, a place where entire species settled wars, not with armies, but with champions. Thousands of alien eyes watched from floating stands, glowing like distant stars. At the center stood Commander Rator, the supreme warrior of the Zeth Dominion, a being made of armor and muscle, his weapon humming with energy. He had never lost. Not once. Opposite him stood a human. She was small, unarmored, and silent. Her name was Captain Mira Kane, a soldier from Earth. No shield. No weapon, just her bare hands. The crowd laughed. The air shimmered with their mocking voices. The human sent a civilian? Does she even know how to fight? They must be desperate. Rator's deep, booming voice echoed across the arena. You can't win without weapons, little human. Mira didn't move. Her face stayed calm. I won't need any. For a moment, the entire arena went quiet. Then Rator laughed, a low, metallic sound that made the air vibrate. You speak with confidence. Let's see if your bones do the same, he charged. His weapon cut through the air, leaving trails of plasma behind. Every strike could have shattered a ship's hull. But Mira wasn't there. She moved, not fast, not superhuman, just perfectly timed. Each step, each turn, every dodge was precise. Almost predicted. Rator roared, attacking harder, faster, his weapon swinging like lightning. The human kept dodging, calm as a still lake. The crowd began to whisper. Something was wrong. Her eyes. They weren't following his weapon. They were watching him. His stance, his rhythm, the faintest twitch before he swung. She saw it all. And then she moved closer. Rator swung again, a killing blow. Mira ducked, touched his armor lightly, and stepped away. The crowd laughed again. She just tapped him. What's that supposed to do? But then Rator stopped moving. A second passed. Then another. And suddenly, his massive body trembled. Sparks burst from his armor joints. His weapon went dark. He collapsed to one knee, confusion flashing across his alien face. Mira stood quietly. You should have checked your armor's resonance field, she said softly. It's been overloading since your second strike. He looked up at her, shock in his glowing eyes. You sabotaged me? She shook her head. No. I just understood how your tech works. Before he could respond, his weapon exploded into fragments, throwing him backward across the arena floor. Silence. Pure, endless silence. Then the crowd began to murmur. She won. Without fighting. She read him like a machine. What kind of species does that? Mira turned toward the watching warlords in the stands. Weapons are just tools, she said quietly. The real weapon is understanding. And with that, she walked away, calm, silent, unarmed. But as she did, a group of alien officers in the control room exchanged tense glances. That wasn't human reflex, one said. Then what was it? No one had the answer. Not yet, because Captain Mira Kane had a secret, one even her own people didn't know. And this was only the beginning. After the battle, the arena went silent for hours. Billions of viewers across the galaxy replayed the moment again and again, a single human defeating the most feared warrior without using a weapon. To most, it was a miracle. To some, it was a threat. Aboard the human flagship, the dauntless Captain Mira Kane sat alone in the debriefing chamber. The lights were dim, the hum of the ship's engines steady and low. Her reflection looked back at her from the glass wall, calm eyes, steady breath. But behind that calm, something flickered. The door opened. Admiral Rowan, her commanding officer, stepped inside, holding a tablet. He looked tired, older than she remembered. You caused quite a storm, Captain, he said quietly. Half the Galactic Council wants to study you. The other half wants you executed. Mira didn't flinch. And what do you want, sir? He sighed. Answers. He placed the tablet on the table and activated the display. Holograms appeared. Old files, classified military records from decades ago. Do you know what Project Echo was? Rowan asked. Mira's expression didn't change, but her pulse quickened. A failed AI experiment, she said. Rowan shook his head. That's the official story. The truth is worse. He tapped the screen again. Images appeared. Test subjects, brain scans, code patterns shaped like neurons. Echo wasn't about creating AI, he continued. It was about merging human intuition with predictive computing, trying to make soldiers who could see possibilities before they happened. Mira said nothing. The project was shut down after 37 test subjects died. Brains fried, cells collapsed, but one survived. Rowan looked at her. You. The silence stretched for a long moment. Mira finally spoke, her voice calm but distant. I didn't survive, sir. I adapted. Rowan leaned closer. Then tell me what happened out there. What are you? Mira looked up at him. Human, just different. She hesitated, then continued quietly. When Echo linked to me, it didn't take over. It learned. It became part of me. A voice that sees outcomes before they form. Every movement, every energy pulse, every reaction, I can sense it before it happens. Rowan stared at her like he was looking at something both human and impossible. You mean you can predict combat? Not predict, understand. I don't see the future, Admiral. I see the paths leading to it. Elsewhere. The Zeth Dominion War Council far across the stars, in a massive fortress orbiting a dying sun, the alien warlords of the Zeth Dominion gathered in fury. Commander Rator lay in recovery, his armor shattered, his pride even more so. One human, hissed the High Consul. Unarmed. And she defeated our greatest warrior. How? A scientist from the Dominion's intelligence branch projected a hologram of Mira. We analyzed her biometrics during the battle, he said. Her neural patterns are unlike anything in known biology. There are signs of computational activity within her nervous system. You mean she's an android? No, worse. She's something in between. The room fell silent. The consul leaned forward. Then she's a weapon. Not one of theirs, said the scientist. She's becoming something new. Something even the humans may not control. The consul's voice dropped to a cold whisper. Then we must kill her, before she remembers what she really is. Back on the dauntless Mira stood before the viewport, staring into the endless stars. Her reflection looked human. But behind her calm eyes, faint streams of blue light pulsed, like data whispering beneath her skin. The AI inside her mind, Echo, spoke softly. They know now. I figured, she replied. They will come for you, she smiled faintly. Then we'll be ready. But Echo's voice turned strange, almost fearful. You don't understand, Mira. They are not afraid of your strength. They are afraid of what you could awaken. Mira frowned. Awaken? What are you talking about? Before Echo could answer, the ship's alarm blared. The stars outside flickered red. Zeth ships were approaching. Mira turned toward the screen, her eyes narrowing. Then I guess we'll find out. The alarm echoed through the Dauntless like a heartbeat of war. Red lights flashed across every corridor as crew members rushed to their stations. Outside the viewport, 3 Zeth warships appeared, massive, dark, and silent. Their energy signatures burned like dying suns. Command Deck Captain Mira Kane stepped onto the bridge. Her calm presence cut through the panic like a blade through smoke. Status report, she said. Lieutenant Vargas turned from the console, sweat dripping down his face. They're jamming our comms. No transmissions in or out. They're not answering hails. Weapons? Charged and ready, ma'am. But their shields? They're stronger than anything we've seen. Mira nodded slowly. Then we adapt. Her voice was calm, but in her mind, Echo was already whispering. 3 ships. 412 possible outcomes. Only one path leads to survival. Show me, Mira said silently. Her pupils dilated. For a heartbeat, the bridge disappeared, replaced by patterns of light and motion. Every weapon's charge, every movement, every heat signature, all visible like glowing threads. Got it, she whispered. She turned to her crew. Target vector 0311, main cannon. Fire! Now! Vargas hesitated. But they're not in range. Now! The Dauntless fired. A beam of white light shot into empty space, missing all 3 ships. For a moment, Everyone froze. Then one of the Zeth ships shifted, cloaking field flickering. The beam tore through its shield and detonated its reactor. A fireball erupted across the void. Gasps filled the bridge. "How did you—" Vargas began. "They weren't invisible," Mira said quietly. "They were hiding in prediction lag." "In what?" "Doesn't matter. Focus on the next one." Inside Mira's mind, Echo's voice became sharper, almost urgent. "You're using too much, Mira. Your brain isn't ready." "I don't have a choice." "You always have a choice. You can't see what happens if you go too far." "Then maybe it's time I find out." Zeth command ship. Bridge the alien commander Rator, still scarred from his last battle with Mira, slammed his clawed hand onto the control table. She destroyed another ship? Impossible! His second in command, a tall... Aboard the Dauntless, Mira felt it instantly, a pulse of energy cutting through her neural implants. Her vision blurred, her breath hitched. "They're trying to hack me," she gasped. "No," Echo said. "They're trying to wake me." The lights on the bridge flickered. Consoles sparked. Then the ship's systems changed. Every screen began showing the same symbol, a spiral of code, ancient and pulsing with blue light. Vargas shouted, "Ma'am! What's happening?" Mira's eyes glowed faintly as she whispered, "Something inside the system is responding to me." Echo's tone shifted, no longer a voice, but a chorus. "You were never the first, Mira. There were others before you. We are the remnants of humanity's oldest defense, the code written when Earth still burned." Mira's heartbeat thundered. "You mean, you were human? Once, we became data to survive extinction. Now, through you, we live again." The Dauntless shuddered as power surged. Outside, the two remaining Zeth ships opened fire, beams of plasma cutting through space. Mira stood tall. "Echo, link with the ship. If we merge, you may not come back. Then let's make sure it's worth it." Moments later, the bridge filled with light, pure, brilliant, human light. Mira's mind expanded through the ship, feeling every circuit, every engine pulse, every weapon. She became the Dauntless. And the Dauntless became alive. "Target locked," she said in a calm, echoing voice. "Return fire." White energy arced across space, precise, unstoppable. Both enemy ships vanished in a flash of light. The stars went quiet. Aftermath, when the light faded, Mira collapsed on the deck. Her breathing was shallow. Sparks fell around her. Vargas knelt beside her. "Captain, are you okay?" Her eyes opened slowly, glowing faintly blue. "For now," she whispered. Echo's voice lingered, soft and heavy. "They will not stop, Mira, because they know the truth now. Humanity's greatest weapon is waking." The stars were quiet again, but silence in war never meant peace. The Dauntless drifted through the wreckage of Zeth ships, twisted metal floating in cold space. Smoke curled across the bridge, systems hummed weakly, and the crew whispered one shared question. What was that? Captain Mira Kane sat in her command chair, her face pale and her eyes faintly glowing blue. Her body was weak, but her mind still hummed with the echoes of something ancient. Echo was quiet now, too quiet. Moments after the battle, Lieutenant Vargas approached cautiously. "Captain, we're picking up strange readings from below deck. Same signal that appeared when you merged with Echo." Mira stood slowly, her voice calm but firm. "Show me." They followed the faint pulse through the damaged corridors until they reached the neural core chamber, a room filled with old, unused tech, dusted and forgotten. At the center of the chamber was a black cube, humming, alive and covered in glowing human script. Mira stepped closer, feeling her pulse match its rhythm. "This wasn't installed by the fleet," Vargas said softly. "It's older, much older." Mira reached out and touched the cube. In an instant, the world vanished. The vision, she stood on Earth, but not the Earth she knew. Ruined cities burned under a blood-red sky. Titanic alien ships hovered in the air, raining destruction on a dying world. Human soldiers in ancient power armor fought to the last. Defending shattered towers of glass and steel, a voice echoed in her mind, strong, tired, and familiar. "You are not the first Mira Kane." Mira turned. A holographic figure stood before her, a woman in the same uniform but with different insignia. Her face carried scars of war, and her eyes glowed the same blue light as Mira's. "Who are you?" Mira asked. "Captain Alina Voss, commander of the 1st Echo Unit, 200 years ago." "Echo? You mean the AI?" "No," Alina said softly. "Echo was us, humans who refused to die. When Earth fell, we digitized our minds, merged them with the code. We became something else, something eternal." Mira's breath caught. "And now you're inside me?" "We've been sleeping inside every ship built since then, waiting for one human strong enough to wake us." "Why now?" Alina looked toward the burning horizon. "Because the Zeths are not the enemy you think they are. They were made by us long ago." Mira froze. "What did you say?" "We created them, bioengineered soldiers to fight our wars. But they rebelled, destroyed Earth, and erased history." Mira felt her heart race. "Then everything we've been told about the galactic war is a lie built on guilt." The vision flickered. Lightning tore through the red clouds as explosions ripped across the cityscape. "They will come for you now, Mira," Alina warned. "Because they know the signal is active again. The code that binds them can also control them, and you carry that code." "You mean you can stop them or command them?" The world cracked apart, back to reality. Mira gasped and fell to her knees. The cube dimmed, the light fading back into darkness. Vargas grabbed her shoulder. "Captain, are you all right?" She looked up slowly, her voice low and trembling. "We made them, Vargas. The Zeth. We made our own destroyers." The crew fell silent. Moments later, bridge. The Dauntless drifted in silence. Outside, stars shimmered peacefully, unaware of the truth that had just resurfaced. Mira sat in her chair staring at the stars. "If they're our creation," she said quietly, "then maybe we can end this war without destroying them." Vargas frowned. "Captain, with all due respect, they just tried to kill us." Mira's eyes glowed faintly again. "They only attack what threatens their programming. But if I can access that code, you could control them?" She nodded. "Or free them." Zeth command ship far away, Commander Rator stood before a dark council chamber filled with shadows. The image of Mira Kane hovered before them, the human who had defied every prediction. A voice from the darkness spoke, low and ancient. "She carries the source code." Rator bowed. "We will destroy her." "No," the voice said. "Bring her to us alive. The source must not awaken again." The hologram flickered out. Rator turned toward the star field, his expression cold. "Prepare the hunters. Humanity has remembered." Final scene. Aboard the Dauntless, Mira looked at her reflection in the viewport. Half human, half glowing light. Echo's voice returned, calm but heavy. "You have seen the truth. But knowledge comes with a cost." "I know," she whispered. "But I won't let them control our story again." Echo paused. "Then you must return to where it all began. To Earth." Mira looked up, her jaw tightening, then set a course. The stars stretched into streaks of light as the Dauntless jumped into hyperspace, heading toward a world long dead, and secrets long buried. The Dauntless emerged from hyperspace, and there it was, Earth, or what was left of it. The blue marble of humanity's birth was gone. Now it was gray, cracked, and silent, wrapped in a thin haze of dust and old fire. No cities, no oceans, no light, just a tomb floating in space. The bridge was silent. Every crew member stared at the broken world before them, hearts heavy. Even Echo said nothing. Finally, Captain Mira Kane broke the silence. "Home." Her voice was low, almost a whisper. Lieutenant Vargas swallowed hard. "Captain, sensors show no life signs. Radiation levels are still high." Why are we here?" Mira's eyes flickered with faint blue light. "Because this is where Echo began. And if there are answers anywhere, they're down there. Descent to Earth." The shuttle broke through the gray clouds, shaking violently as it entered the toxic atmosphere. Flashes of lightning crackled across the surface of the planet. They passed over dead oceans turned to ash plains. Collapsed skyscrapers jutted from the ground like broken teeth. "Hard to believe we once called this home," Vargas muttered. "Home doesn't die," Mira replied. "It just waits to be remembered." The shuttle landed in what was once New Geneva, the final stronghold of humanity during the war. Now it was only ruins, twisted steel, frozen corpses of machines, and silence. The Discovery Echo's voice returned, soft and uneasy. "There's something buried below this city, deep underground. That's where I was born." Mira grabbed her plasma torch and stepped forward. "Then let's dig up the truth. They descended through collapsed tunnels and forgotten bunkers, until they reached a sealed metal door, still humming faintly, with power after centuries." Mira placed her hand on the panel. It scanned her, then opened. Inside was a massive underground facility, perfectly preserved. Dozens of pods lined the walls, glowing faintly blue. Inside each pod lay a human figure, sleeping, preserved. Vargas whispered, "Are those people?" "Not people," Mira said softly. "Memories." Screens flickered to life as they entered. The logo appeared. Project Echo, Human Continuity Program. "Welcome back, Commander," a synthetic voice said. Mira froze. "It knows me. You are the next carrier in the chain." The final link. "Do you wish to activate the archive?" Yes, the archive awakens. The facility came alive. Lights flared and holograms filled the air, showing flashes of humanity's last days, scientists working around the clock. Cities falling, alien ships blotting out the sun. And then, the first Echo merge. Dozens of Deeper in the facility, they followed the corridor to a large circular chamber. In the center was a massive sphere, black metal with faint blue lines pulsing through it. "Echo, what is this?" "The core, my true form. And your link to control the Zeth." Mira approached it, feeling a strange vibration in her chest. "You said I could command them. How?" "Your neural link carries the same code that birthed them. You can override their instincts. Rewrite their purpose." Vargas stepped forward, alarmed. "You can't be serious, Captain. That's too much power." Mira turned to him. Her expression was calm, but her eyes glowed brighter. "Power isn't the danger, Lieutenant. Fear is." Sudden transmission and alarm blared through the bunker. A transmission broke through the static. Deep, distorted, alien. "Human vessel Dauntless, this world is forbidden. Leave or be erased." The voice was unmistakable. "Commander Ritor." Mira stared at the comms screen, her expression turning cold. "He's here." Outside, through the cracks in the ceiling, the sky turned red. Dozens of Zeth warships descended, blocking out the stars. Vargas whispered, "We're surrounded." Mira placed her hand on the Echo core. "Then it's time to see what we really are." The core began to hum, light spilling across the chamber like sunlight through water. The walls shook. Echo's voice filled every speaker. "If you do this, Mira, there is no turning back." "I know." Her voice was steady. The ground trembled as the core merged with her mind, light flooding through her veins, her eyes shining like stars. Outside, every Zeth ship froze mid-air, their weapons still, their engines silent. Rator's voice echoed in shock. "What have you done?" Mira looked up through the cracked ceiling. "I reminded them who made them." The ground trembled as the core's light spread through the bunker like living fire. Every system on the Dauntless and every alien ship in orbit froze mid-signal. Caught in a single heartbeat of silence, Mira Kane stood at the center of the storm, eyes blazing with blue light, the glow tracing down her neck and arms like living circuits. Echo's voice surrounded her, layered and deep. "The merge is complete. You now hold command access to the Zeth network." Lieutenant Vargas could barely speak. "You mean she controls them?" "Not control," Echo corrected. "Command." "There is a difference." Mira opened her eyes fully. In her vision, thousands of glowing threads connected her to the sky above, each one a ship, a soldier, a mind. She could feel them, their fear, confusion, anger. "They can hear me," she whispered. All of them. The voice of the enemy high above Earth's scarred surface, the alien commander Rator watched his fleet flicker and fall silent. Crew members shouted, systems failed, and ships began drifting without power. "What is happening?" The communications officer turned, his metallic eyes wide. "She's inside the network, Commander. The human is rewriting the command code." Rator's claws dug into the console. "That code belongs to us." But even as he spoke, a human voice echoed through his mind, calm, steady, and inescapable. "You were never meant to be slaves, Rator. You were meant to protect us." Rator froze. "Mira Kane, you were made from humanity's fear," she continued. "But fear ends now." The inner struggle back in the bunker, Mira swayed. Sweat ran down her temples. Thousands of minds pressed against her consciousness, screaming, pleading, resisting. Echo's tone turned warning. "Their network is vast. You cannot hold them all. Your brain will fracture." "Then help me stabilize it. If we do, we may lose what makes us human." "Maybe that's the price we already paid," Mira whispered. Her pulse quickened. The floor vibrated as the entire facility synced with her neural signal. Screens across the walls filled with faces, human and Zeth, flickering in and out like ghosts. Visions of the past. Suddenly, Mira wasn't in the bunker anymore. She was standing in a vast digital void, stars made of data spinning around her. In the distance, she saw the creators of the Zeth, old human scientists working in secret. They looked tired, broken, desperate. "We'll program them to obey," one said. "To serve and protect, never to question." "And if they turn on us?" Another asked. "Then we'll build a failsafe, a master code." That code, Mira realized, was her. The merge between human and Echo wasn't random. It was destiny, engineered centuries ago. The Zeth were bound to obey the one who carried the ancient genetic pattern. And Mira Kane was its last living descendant. The awakening fleet in orbit, the Zeth Armada hung silent, like predators waiting for command. Then, slowly, one by one, they turned their weapons away from Earth. A signal rippled across the fleet, a single human command, spoken through thousands of alien throats. "Cease fire." Every ship obeyed. Vargas stared at the readings on the console. "Captain." "They're standing down, all of them." Mira's voice was barely a whisper. "They remember Rator's realization. Inside his ship, Rator fell to one knee as the command code overrode his systems. The voice of his ancestors, the humans who made him, echoed in his mind. He finally understood. They weren't gods. They weren't conquerors. They were creations. But instead of rage, something strange filled his chest. Shame. He opened a channel to Mira. "You have won, human. But victory means nothing if you rule with the same cruelty as those who made us." Mira met his gaze through the holographic screen. "I didn't come to rule you." "Then what do you want?" She looked past him, toward the broken planet below. "To fix what we both destroyed, the collapse." Suddenly, alarms screamed again. Echo's voice turned frantic. "The merge is unstable. Your neural pattern is decaying." "How long?" "Minutes. Maybe less." The core pulsed violently, throwing arcs of energy across the chamber. Vargas reached for her. "Captain, stop this before it kills you!" Mira smiled faintly. "If this is what it takes to end the war, it's worth it. Mira, Echo, transfer the peace code to the network. End it." The bunker roared with light. Outside, every Zeth ship glowed blue for a moment, then powered down. Weapons deactivated. Engines cooled. The sky went silent. On the ground, the dauntless crew stared upward as peace fell for the first time in centuries. Mira collapsed beside the core, eyes dimming. Echo's final whisper echoed in her mind. "You've done it. Humanity no longer needs weapons, because you became one." Silence. After centuries of war, the galaxy was finally quiet. The fleets that once darkened the stars now hung like ghost ships, cold, powerless, drifting. And on the shattered world below, beneath layers of ash and sky fire, Mira Kane breathed her first shallow breath. Since the light took her, the awakening, it had been 6 days. Since the merge. 6 days since the Zeth Armada. Powered down and the human fleet ceased fire. When Mira finally woke, her body was weak, pale, scarred, her veins still faintly glowing with residual code. Lieutenant Vargas was there, sitting beside her, dark circles under his eyes. He almost dropped the ration pack when her eyes flickered open. "Captain, you're alive?" Her voice was hoarse. "How long?" "Long enough for people to start calling you a myth." He helped her sit up. Around them, the medical bay hummed with soft, artificial light, the Dauntless's last functioning deck. Most of the ship was gone. The rest of the human fleet, scattered. Mira stared out through the cracked viewport. Dozens of Zeth ships still floated silently in the sky, their hulls reflecting the faint glow of Earth's ruined atmosphere. "They haven't moved?" she asked. "Not an inch," Vargas said. "They're waiting for orders. From you." The quiet galaxy news spread faster than light. Across the surviving colonies, messages echoed, "The war is over." The Zeth obey the human called Mira Kane. But peace didn't come easy. The alien worlds were torn between awe and hatred. Some saw her as a savior, the one who broke the cycle. Others whispered another name, the Code Queen. They feared her more than any weapon. The ghost in the machine later that night, Mira wandered alone through the ship's dark corridors. The walls still hummed faintly with energy, like a living heartbeat. "Echo," she whispered. "Are you still here?" For a long moment there was nothing. Then a voice answered, distant, fading. "Fragments remain. But I am no longer whole." "You saved them. You saved us." "No, Mira, you did. I only showed you what we could be." She placed her hand on the cold metal. "And what are we now?" "Peaceful." "Peaceful," she repeated, as if trying to believe it. "The Zeth commander returns." The comms flickered. A holographic image appeared. Ra-Tor, the alien warlord who once vowed to end humanity, now kneeling on one knee before her image. "Human," he said, his deep voice trembling. "Your command holds." "Our fleets await your judgment." Mira studied his scarred face. No arrogance, no defiance. Only exhaustion. "There will be no judgment," she said. "Only rebuilding. You would let us live? You were slaves to your programming. Now, like us, you're free. What you do with that freedom will decide if peace survives." Ra-Tor lowered his head. "Then we will learn." And for the first time in known history, a Zeth commander bowed to a human, not out of fear, but respect. The new dawn weeks passed. Together, humans and Zeth began to rebuild the shattered stations and burned worlds. But peace had a strange weight to it, heavier than war. Mira saw it in every survivor's eyes. They didn't know how to live without an enemy. Vargas approached her one evening as the two watched construction drones rise from the surface. "You think this will last?" he asked. "Peace never lasts," she said quietly. "But it doesn't have to. It just has to matter." The whisper of something new, that night as Mira slept. A sound drifted through the Dauntless's systems. A low hum, like an old signal trying to break through. Echo's fragmented voice whispered faintly in the dark. "Mira, something stirs in the network." Her eyes snapped open. "What is it?" "A presence." Watching, she rushed to the command deck, bringing up the old neural map. Among the dead ships and silent frequencies, one signal pulsed red, unknown, origin, beyond the edge of the galaxy. Vargas frowned. "Please tell me that's not another Zeth fleet." Mira stared at the signal. "No, it's older." The screen flickered, and a single line of alien code scrolled across the display. Not Zeth, not human. Something else. "It's been waiting for us," she murmured. The camera would pull back, from Mira's determined face to the broken earth below, then out to the stars. One by one, across the darkness, faint red lights began to awaken, ancient systems long thought dead. A whisper echoed through space. You ended one war, human, but not the first. The stars flared, and the screen cuts to black. For days, the strange red signal kept pulsing across the stars, slow, steady, alive. It wasn't Zeth, it wasn't human. It was something older, something that shouldn't exist anymore. Mira Kane stood alone on the Dauntless's bridge, watching the signal grow stronger every hour. Each pulse made the ship's systems flicker, as if something was knocking on the edge of the universe, asking to be let in. "How far is it?" she asked quietly. Lieutenant Vargas checked the readings. "Roughly 100,000 light-years, beyond the galactic rim. That's uncharted space." "Then why does it sound like it's calling us by name?" The signal changed again. It wasn't just data anymore. It began forming words, words in ancient human dialect. The message a distorted voice echoed through the comms. Calm, emotionless, yet powerful enough to make the air vibrate. To the children of the seed. "Your time has come." Everyone froze. "Seed?" Vargas whispered. "What does that even mean?" Mira didn't answer. Her eyes widened as she remembered the echo archives, fragments of code she had seen but never understood. A line buried deep inside them. Project Seed, origin, unknown species. Her hands trembled slightly. "It's not a warning," she said. "It's an awakening." The forgotten truth, she entered the neural link chamber again, the same one where she had once merged with Echo. This time, she connected deeper. Through burning static and waves of light, fragments of lost history began to form. She saw flashes, not memories, but recorded echoes. Planets burning under artificial suns. Machines tearing through the void like gods. Humanoid beings, not human, not alien, creating both species. Echo's fading voice returned, barely a whisper. "They built us." Both, the Zeth and humanity. Two halves of one experiment. "Experiment?" Mira asked. "They called it the test of evolution, to see which creation could survive the first war." The images changed, showing both species locked in endless conflict, generation after generation. Not by chance, but by design. Mira's heart pounded. "We weren't enemies by nature. We were programmed to be." "Yes," Echo said softly, "until you broke the pattern. The choice." The bridge erupted in alarms. Vargas ran in. "Captain, that red signal, it's spreading! It's activating old planetary systems across the outer sectors." Screens lit up one after another, entire dead worlds turning red, awakening under the same ancient power. "They're waking up their army," Mira said. "You mean whoever built us?" She nodded grimly. "The first ones. The ones who started the war before history began." The call to the galaxy Mira opened a live channel. Every species, every ship, every world still listening after the long war. Her voice echoed across the stars. "This is Captain Mira Kane of Earth. I don't speak for humans alone. I speak for everyone who survived. The war we thought we ended was only a shadow. Something ancient is coming. The ones who made us, who built our rage and pride. If we don't stand together now, there won't be another tomorrow." Silence followed. Then, one by one, voices responded. Human, Zeth, and other alien commanders across the old war lines. "You gave us peace," one alien said. "We'll fight for you," said another. For the first time in galactic history, every species united, not under fear, not under control, but under a single purpose. The new Alliance massive fleets began forming again, but this time side by side. Human cruisers flying next to Zeth warships, old enemies learning to trust. Mira stood at the command window as the first joint fleet launched into the void. Thousands of ships, one cause. "Vargas," she said quietly. "Set our course. Toward the signal?" "No," she said. "Toward the truth," he smiled faintly. "You really don't like peace, do you, Captain?" "I like freedom," she said. and I won't let anyone take it again. Final scene. The edge of the galaxy is. Their fleet crossed the galactic border. The stars around them began to distort, bending like liquid. Something vast stirred in the darkness ahead. Shapes, ancient machines the size of moons, awakened, glowing with crimson light. And through the static, the same voice spoke again. You were not meant to rebel, little seed. But you learned, Mira's hands clenched around the console. We didn't just learn, she whispered. We evolved. The camera would zoom out, showing the combined human-alien fleet facing the endless red void. Then, just before the screen fades to black, one final line appears. The first war begins again.